G'day guys, how's it going? It's Reese here, and I'm just bringing you my thoughts on Bitcoin for the week ahead. Last week was a big week on Bitcoin. It absolutely blew through. My short was not successful, but that's okay. Happens in trading, so get back on the horse, keep going. What we'll do is we'll head to Tradingview, and I'll show you guys what I'm looking at for the week. Hopefully we'll see some of this play out. So here we are. We're currently looking at Bitcoin on the weekly candles. And the zones that I think are really important are this supply zone that we formed here before we had the big drop out, and this demand zone, which could take us a couple of months to hit if we ever do hit it again. But especially this supply zone, it's a key level where we're hitting it right now. Last week you can see it was rejected. It was respected to the T, right? We came up rejected beautifully off it. So I think this is a good weekly supply level. The fibs, we've blown through the 61.8, so I'm not really looking at the fib levels now. We are at the 78.6, but I don't really like to use that as a reason to short. So that's mostly what I'm looking at on the weekly. Now, one thing I want to show before I get into the daily and the 4 hour is Bitcoin does have a history of having huge sell-offs, coming right back up to the zone, and then having another sell-off. Now, when I say another sell-off, I'm not saying we're forming a lower low, even though I've been calling for a lower low for a long time. That's not what I'm saying here. But I am expecting to see a rejection from this level. It might only be back to 50k, and then we might keep heading up and making new structure. We may blow straight through it. That's what happened to me last week. We held where I entered my short for like 4 hours. It was not very long, and then we blew straight through. So definitely could be wrong here. None of this is financial advice. This is just what I'm doing, what I'm seeing for the week. But what I'm saying with that sort of pattern of Bitcoin having huge sell-offs and coming back to the supply zone and then rejecting, I'll show with a couple of previous examples. Now, obviously, all these are cherry-picked, right? I'm not going to show you guys examples where it didn't work, but this is a pattern. I've lost my chart. This is a pattern that I've sort of had in my head for a long time that Bitcoin likes to do, because I have seen it happen multiple times. So, here I would say is a really good example, right? We formed a supply zone based off that candle there. I always include this wick if it's there. And then we came up, retested it beautifully, and then rejected, right? Over here, huge sell-off out of there, came back up, we stopped just short, right, nearly hit it, rejected. And then even if you look at this like zoomed in one, came back, so dropped out, came back to that level, and then rejected, right? Again, not a huge rejection. And then when we finally did hit this previous supply level, so I would consider that here essentially the retest of this supply level. It was just front run a little bit, but even here, right, we came up, hit the supply zone for real, we punched into it a little bit, and then we rejected a bit before we continued to move higher. So Bitcoin does have a habit of this sort of move. Now, it doesn't mean it happens every time, right? I'm sure you can find plenty of examples where there was big sell-offs. In fact, that's probably one right there, right? Big sell-off. I'll put the channel on. Hang on. It held, but there was no real rejection. So that could be the case of what happens here, right? Nothing in trading is guaranteed. History doesn't rhyme, history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. I like that saying. So, I'm not saying that that's guaranteed to happen, that we'll reject from this weekly level, but there is definitely a possibility. It's a level that I like for shorts. So if I add on my daily levels, and I'll get rid of the weekly fibs because that's going to crowd things a lot. Let's get rid of that. And let me just delete all this because it's going to annoy me if it's sitting there, even though we can't see on the chart. So these are the daily levels I'm considering, right? There is a daily supply. That's what I was talking about before. The daily supply within the weekly. To me, that's where I'm really keen on getting short from. There is also the top daily supply, which I'd actually probably draw like that. Like I said, I like to include the wicks. Those are the levels I'm watching. So I am sort of thinking we might do something like this. This, where are we, about 50k level, to me looks really strong, right? It's been a really strong daily level. There is a 4 hour demand that will come up in a sec when we're looking at it. So that's sort of my thoughts on what's most likely to happen this week. Of course, this could definitely happen. And, it's worth noting, I have shorted 3 or 4 times on this run up and been wrong. Well, I was right once. So, 1 for 4. Albert Einstein said insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. I'm shorting again, right? I'm putting in shorts. Could just be doing the same thing. I could just be shorting a bull market constantly. So, that's always something to consider. I have dropped my risk for the reasons that, to me, this is a pretty bullish market. I have shown just before why I, really like the thought of shorting from this zone because of what's happened previously. But, this is a pretty bullish market and I'm taking shorts. So that's always a risky maneuver. So I have dropped my risk as well as the fact that I've been wrong a few times lately. So I am sort of just lowering risk, not stepping away because it's natural to have bad runs in trading. This is the worst one that I've had in a little while. I think I'm 2 for 9 actually, 2 for 9. But with good risk management, that doesn't really hurt you that much. And although I'm down on that 2 for 9, I'm not down a whole lot. So that's why I'm big on targeting large risk to rewards. And as soon as things start swinging in my favour again, I'm going to be back to printing money. So it's cool. And that's a for anyone who doesn't realise the importance of psychology in trading, that's a key lesson for you there. A lot of people with our 2 for 9 would be thinking about quitting trading. They'd be stepping away. They'd be, thinking that they're a failure. Not at all. It happens. If you, I won't get into it because it'll make this video about 20 minutes, but there's a table that you can look at. If you know your win rate, it tells you the odds of you having a losing streak of a certain length. And, you quickly see that it's pretty likely at some point in trading, if you don't have a win rate in the 80 to 90%, it's pretty likely that you're going to have a losing streak, 5 or more. Not uncommon at all. So, don't get disenfranchised when you are having bad streaks of trading. Step back, think, is there something going on? Am I not sleeping? Have I broken up with my girlfriend? Am I just doing dumb things with my trading? Make sure that none of them are at play because they definitely can be, but sometimes your system will just have bad streaks. So that's potentially what's going on at the moment with me because I can't think of any other, like the lack of sleep or those sorts of things. Potentially it's just a bad run for my system or, maybe I am just being a perma bear in a bull market. So either way, I'm pretty happy to be shorting from where I'm shorting from, right? It's a really low risk, high opportunity place to be going short. So like I've said in the last 3 videos, I'm shorting. Now I am keen on longs from this 50k region. So, if we do get back down there, I will be going long. I'm not completely bearish, but that's sort of the play that is more likely to happen this week, right? Because we're not down here yet, whereas we are sitting right at this level I'm happy to be shorting from. The shorts are more my focus for the week. If we do get down here, I will be loading longs. So if I add in my 4-hour levels, which is what I added in there, you can see why I am, in fact, we'll come down to the 4-hour. You can see why I am pretty keen on this 50k region for longs, right? It's also the 50 fib, like I said before, it's that daily level. We've got that 4-hour demand zone. There's a 4-hour demand zone here that we bounce perfectly off here. And this is one thing that makes me less keen on my short. I'm still keen on it, but this was, I think, an 8% wick. Yeah, 9%, right? That's a very strong buyback. And another thing, right? One of my favorite quotes is, it's the drift that kills you. And what that's talking about is a lot of the times my best trades will come up, slap my zone perfectly. Some of my entries are so sick. I love those ones. Slap my zones perfectly and then reject really hard and I'll get a nice bearish engulfing, evening star, those sorts of patterns. They're the trades that tend to go well for me. The trades that don't tend to go well for me are the ones where we do this, where we sort of consolidate right below my levels. Now, normally it's closer. So, if we keep consolidating here, where we are right now, I will be getting less keen on my short. Those consolidations under supply zones or consolidations just above demand zones, they do tend to lead to breaks of that zone. Not always, but they do tend to. So the short is something I will be watching closely. I'll be paying attention to that. I might drop my risk, move my stop in, just depends how things play out. We'll see. But essentially that's what I'm looking at for the week, right? The other thing that makes me keen on the short is we've broken this trend. We've had a 38% move without much of a retracement, right? That was a pretty solid sell-off. The buyback, there hasn't been like a proper slow, smooth retracement, which is a pretty bullish sign, right? So, it's a great time to be taking longs, but this is just a really good place to be going short. I'm still happy to take the chances. The other thing is the CCI, right? It is just really, really declining. Now, it has spiked today with that big buyback there. But there was a huge period of bearish divergence there. So, look, as always, could be completely wrong on this short. Could just get blown out, tonight, tomorrow. But I'm happy to take the chance. I do really like this zone for shorts. There's a lot of reasons, a lot of potential selling pressure through there. So I'm quite happy to, have my orders sitting, waiting, and just see what happens. I think it's Jesse Livermore who talks about, losing is the cost of finding it if you're right. I'm happy to pay the cost of finding it if I'm right on this one. As always, with a big risk to reward. If I'm wrong, I lose a little bit. If I'm right, I stand to gain a lot. So that's my thoughts for the week. Essentially, I'm looking for shorts through here. I'm looking for longs through here. So there you are. If you found any value, I know I did ramble a little bit in this video, but I like to think of it as good rambling, right? A few of those things are sort of concepts that I think are worth looking into, especially like things like the drift that I haven't spoken about anywhere else. So hopefully you guys do enjoy my ramblings when it is on topic like that. But yeah, if you got something out of this video, please do like and subscribe. It really helps me out. And hopefully you guys are having a better run with your trading than I am. But hopefully this week or very, very soon, things are going to turn around and we'll be back to printing some money in these markets. Have a good one.